Jai Hind, this is Brigadier Hemant Mahajan. We meet again on a Saturday for carrying out a review of important events that took place in and around India which has effect on India's national security. The first important event was that 2 days back a boat was found near the Harihareshwar coast of Konkan of Maharashtra which had three AK-47 rifles and it was without a crew. So scare started all over whether it was a terrorist boat which had come inside and possibly the terrorist had escaped on land, etc. But no, later it was found out that it was an Australian boat that was sailing from Oman to Europe. It capsized, and thereafter the crew of two and six was rescued by a Korean Yuddha Nauka, Korean battleship, and then the boat could not be towed back to a port, so therefore it was left on the high sea. However, what is important is this happened somewhere in the month of June, and for next about nearly 1 month, this boat was floating around along the high tide. It came on the coast of Konkan or western Maharashtra, and it was not detected by any of our security agencies. We are aware that we have a three-tier security as far as coastal security is concerned. The first year from the coastline or from the zero line up to 12 nautical miles is the responsibility of the coastal police. In this case, the Maharashtra police. They did not detect it. Then from 12 nautical miles up to 200 nautical miles is the responsibility of the Indian Coast Guard or Bharatiya Tatarakshak Dal. They also did not notice it. And beyond 200 nautical miles is the responsibility of the Indian Navy. They also did not detect it. The issue is we have a chain of radars, we have a chain of AIS, etc., which tries to track down boats all over, but they were not able to detect it, and it reached undetected. And the first people who reported its presence were the fishermen who were on the coastline. So this is definitely an important security breach as far as the coastal security is concerned. Good that it was not a terrorist boat, but we need to tighten up our security and find out as to what are weaknesses in our security. Why was the boat allowed to come inside without being detected? Second, what we must understand is that our coastline is porous, and if you have been reading the newspapers, on number of occasions, Afu Ganja charas or narcotics worth thousands of crores have been found around on near the coastline of Maharashtra, near Gujarat, near the coastline of Kerala, etc. And it is generally said that whatever you catch, a larger amount than that gets inside the country, which is undetected. So therefore, coastal security is a big issue, and we need to ensure that it is foolproof. The challenges to the coastal security are illegal trade that takes place, smuggling that takes place, poaching that takes place, especially into the coastal waters of Andaman Nicobar Island and the Lakshadweep Island. Then, at times, illegal carriage of arms, ammunition, explosives that takes place on the coastline, especially on the Chennai coastline or the Tamil Nadu coastline. Refugees come from Sri Lanka, where there's a very serious economic problem. On the eastern coast, the Bangladeshis come, especially on the coastline of Orissa and West Bengal. And as far as the delta of Brahmaputra concerned, Brahmaputra and Ganges, that area is a very, very big security threat, also called as the Sundarban. So all these areas we need to guard properly because coastal security is definitely a huge challenge. The point we are going to cover thereafter is regards to internal security. Uh, One good news is that the government has removed number of supporters of in Jammu and Kashmir who were the supporters of terrorists. They were either sons or daughters or relations of various terrorist leaders, and they were in the government job. Their parents were responsible for endangering the security of Kashmir, but their children were in the government service, be it sons of Sayyid Salahuddin, be it wife of Bitta Karate, etc. Now, also a number of technically qualified people who are working as IT managers in Jammu Kashmir Entrepreneurship Development Institution yeah, was also caught carrying out some terrorist supporting activities. All this must stop. Actually, the children of all these terrorist leaders, terrorist supporters, courier, etc., have all enjoyed government perks by being in the government jobs. Appeasement was the issue. Now, because of these appeasement policies, relations of terrorists, their supporters were employed in many government departments all these years. They must be removed, and all the government jobs should be reserved only for honest citizens of the country. And of course, if a concession is to be given, then it should be given to the victims of terrorist violence. The next issue is that the National Investigation Agency continues to do a good job. It has raided a house of one Faisal Munir, his residence in Jammu, where he had received 35 consignments of arms and ammunition dropped via drones. And he was the one who collected it, and thereafter he was sending it to the Kashmir Valley. And around with each of this cache, 1 rupee cash was also dropped from the drones. Now, what we have to understand is international border starts from somewhere near Jammu downwards. It goes to the state of Punjab, then Rajasthan, finally Gujarat, etc. There's a lot of smuggling activities which take place. Lot of drugs are transported, lot of weapons are transported, and this area is manned by our Central Armed Police Force called the Border Security Force. Their border guarding has not been up to the mark, and there have been n number of cases reported in the media where consignment of drugs have been found all over, and the drones have been the preferred mode of transportation. The BSF has to ensure that they are able to evolve a countermeasure by which infiltrating drones are stopped, because this is definitely a danger to our security. The next issue is that there is a lot of madrasas and mosques that have come on the Nepal border. State of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar share a border with Nepal, and it was felt that this area is being used for illegal migration. The Bangladeshis from the Siliguri corridor go to Nepal, from where they stay for some time, get their documents made. They either come from West Bengal or they come from Bihar, etc. And after making the documents, then they go to the remainder part of the country. It was estimated by the intelligence agencies that since 2018, uh, uh, madrasas and mosques worth about 500 crores have been constructed in this area, and the source of this fund was countries like Turkey, Qatar, UAE, etc. So what is important is that people who built this illegal madrasas and mosques on the Indo-Nepal border must be punished under the law of the land, and illegal construction should be demolished. Seema Suraksha Bal is responsible for guarding the Indo-Nepal border. They have to also improve their border management and ensure that improve intelligence, keep a watch on illegal mosques, illegal madrasas, keep a watch on illegal migration, keep a watch on areas which have been occupied by these illegal migrants, etc. Just being there is not adequate. The next issue is the Rohingyas migration. There were reports, as per the Ministry of Home Affairs, nearly 40,000 Rohingyas live in different parts of the countries, and they are staying in 12 states such as Jammu Kashmir, Telangana, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, etc. The issue is all these illegal migrants must be, like Bangladeshis, Rohingyas, must be detected, must be caught, and must be deported to Bangladesh oblique Myanmar. Of course, it is the Rohingyas are not being accepted by Myanmar, so initially we'll have to keep them in the detention camp, and thereafter we will have to deport them back. The most important is that there are a lot of people who support this illegal migration. There are NGOs, there are rich people who support them, who make documents for them, who give them a place to stay, who give them a transportation system by which they are transported to different part of the countries in various states like Telangana, etc. They are made to meet a particular person who keeps them there, and thereafter they are used as cheap labor. Now, this must be stopped. The supporters of illegal migrants must be punished, and otherwise, this illegal migration will not stop. Next issue is that there was a 2 day seminar on national security strategies which took place on Wednesday and last Wednesday and Thursday, in which the Home Minister Shri Amit Shah spoke about some important issues about counter-terrorist activities, de-radicalization, cryptocurrencies, counter-rogue drone technology, and challenges that are posed on the Maoist outfits. He said that the action has to take place at a district level. While at a higher headquarters, things are understood, but the implementation of these orders is done at a ground level. So, therefore, the police stations have to be strengthened. They have to be given all the education about how to counter drones, how to counter cryptocurrencies, how to counter radicalization, how to counter, let's say, illegal migration, etc. Maoist activities are also increasing. So, therefore, what Mr. Amit Shah said is very, very right. There should be no doubt on this. He also mentioned that they have evolved a system which is called as the National Automated Fingerprint Identification System. I repeat, National Automated Fingerprint Identification System. However, this must go down to the grassroots level so that the technology is used in a good way to improve our internal security. All the directions given by the Home Minister are important and they will definitely improve the internal security. But the key is that they must be implemented and strict monitoring must be done. The next issue is Government of India has banned 8 YouTube channels. One was in Pakistan and and remainder 7 were in India. Imagine they had 114 crore views. I repeat, 114 crore views, and they had 85 lakh subscribers. What were they doing? They were fake, sensational news, spreading disinformation with regard to India's national security, anti-India, anti-government content, and it is not the first time. 5 times till since December 2021, the ministry has invoked emergency powers under the IT rule and blocked the digital media which were spewing the venom of radicalization and others. Now, the important issue is that who are these channels? The channels were Lokatantra TV, U and V TV, AM Razvi, Gaurav Shali Pawan, Mithila Chal, five, top fifth, Sarkari Update, Sab Kuch Dekho, Pakistan-based News Ki Duniya. Now, issue is that government has to screen the social media regularly. Social media means Twitter, social media means Facebook, social media means YouTube, social media means Instagram, and any anti-national content from there has to be removed, and people who are putting it should be punished under the laws of the land. There are still a lot of web pages on the social media which publish anti-Indian content, and they must be blocked and people must be punished. The next issue is with regard to Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's a good information that we have an institution called Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. I repeat, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. Now they have 100 requests for launching satellites on in the space, which will be used by startups, by academia, etc., so that capabilities are created and the technology is used for nation building. This is a very good information, good news that is coming up. But what we need to do is we need to be as proactive as USA and Europe to utilize the space for nation building because there's a tremendous potential that can be exploited if you use the power of satellite. The next issue is with regard to external security. Army has boosted its firepower on the LAC. Basically, army has used new assault vessel in the Pangangso Lake, which can carry 35 combat troops so that they can counter aggressive designs by the Chinese. Indian Army is also integrating niche technologies, or also called as block technologies. These are artificial intelligence, blockchains, virtual reality, or augmented reality, or 5G connectivity, or quantum technology. The aim is to transfer the load of repetitive surveillance from human beings to machine and free the soldiers to perform high level tasks so that our security level can be brought up. This is a good information, good news, and let's hope that these technologies help us to detect the Chinese intrusion faster than what it was earlier. Now, next issue is that the Raksha Mantri Sri Rajnath Singh has handed over a lot of indigenously developed equipment and system to the Indian Army. These include new generation anti-personnel mine, upgraded sights for the tanks which we use in the deserts, high mobility infantry protected vehicles, and assault boats. State-of-art equipment has been given for operational use. Building up the operational capabilities in terms of infrastructure, in terms of weapons, induction of new technologies is a key to improve combat potential of troops deployed on the Indo-China border or on the Indo-Pakistan border. Next issue is that the Chinese vessel, which is landed up at Hambantota from 16th to 22nd of August, we were trying to stop it. Initially, we gained some success, but thereafter, the Sri Lankans fell prey to the Chinese pressure and the boat was allowed. This is basically because of money power of the Chinese. Now, how do we tell the Sri Lankans that they cannot not bother about the security concerns of India? We should reduce the economic aid which we are providing to Sri Lanka. One important lesson we need to learn from Taiwan is that ever since visit of Pelosi, Chinese have been launching huge number of cyber attacks on the Taiwan network, various type of Taiwan digital networks. But the most important part is the digital minister Shri Ongli Tang. He told media that Taiwan is now started what is called as Web3, and this website has not been hacked ever since it was launched. The most important issue is, despite launching very severe cyber attacks, China has not been able to breach the cyber security of Taiwan. So we therefore need to learn a lot from Taiwan with respect to protecting our cyber boundaries. The next issue is how to counter the Chinese hybrid war. I've been mentioning again and again that China is at war with India. It carries out warlike activities every day. Every day in the news, you hear something new. How do we counter it? First, let's talk about a report of United Nations which talked about forced labor which is taking place in Xinjiang. More than 30 lakh minority community people in Xinjiang are under detention camps, etc. So these kind of human rights violations which China carries out against its own people must be highlighted at regular intervals in various world forums. Secondly, we need to give a very clear message to China that unless you settle the boundary dispute, unless you go back from those two places of Hot Spring and Depsang to positions which was existing before 5th of February, we are not going to have normal relations with you. So therefore, Chinese have to be made to understand that it is not life as usual. What India has done is a military helicopter was given to Dalai Lama to fly to places which are right on the border. This was basically a message. China is extremely unhappy over Indian government facilitating the visit of Dalai Lama to Ladakh, etc. India must keep on carrying out relentless, proactive diplomacy so that Chinese hybrid activities are somewhat controlled. Now, towards this, one very important event has taken place that to celebrate the 25 years of India's freedom struggle, Indian naval ship Satpura docked at San Diego US Naval Base on August 15. And what we must know is at this point of time, the Indian Navy ships went to six continents across three oceans and six different time zones and visited various parts of the world to showcase Indian Navy's capability in the oceans away from Indian Ocean. This is a good message. Second is that we are having a very important high altitude exercise near China with USA from 18 to 31st of August. And not only that, we are also encouraging other countries like Indonesia, Australia to conduct combat exercises in Indo-Pacific to stop the growing Chinese activities there. Also, the Indian Air Force have been carrying out a lot of exercises with many friendly countries such as Egypt, Malaysia, Australia. Four Sukhois, along with two C-17 Globemasters, touched down in Australia for an exercise called Pitch Black. It's an air combat exercise in which, now listen to this carefully, that 100 aircraft, 2,500 military personnel from 17 nations are participating. 17 nations. The Sukhois were refueled in the mid-air by the air tankers of French Air Space Force, which is also taking part. In addition to that, we have the USA taking part, UK, Canada, Germany, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, Netherlands, New Zealand, Philippines, Korea, Singapore, Thailand, and UAE, which means that these countries belong to Southeast Asia, these countries belong to Europe, and these countries also belong to East Asia. Basically, a large force is being employed from August 19 to September 8 and carrying out various important exercises. In addition to this, Sukhois had also gone to Egyptian Air Force Base, a weapons school at Cairo from in the month of June, July. Thereafter, IAF with four Sukhois also went with a refueler to Malaysia to participate in a bilateral exercise called Udarshan Shakti, etc. So, and also we would remember that India today is one of the frontline leaders for selling its Tejas light combat aircraft to Malaysia. The quadrilateral cooperation countries have declared that they will deter any coercion in Indo-Pacific by China, and China's military buildup will definitely be countered. Now, what is important is that anti-China sentiments globally are on the increase. India should further strengthen its ties with Taiwan, Japan, Southeast Asian countries, and all countries who are scared by the rise of China. And equally important is at a of the home front, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, this campaign, Har Ghar Mein Tiranga, people were encouraged to put Tiranga in their house to mark the 75th year of India's independence. It was a great success. Igniting dormant spirit of patriotism in every citizen will ensure that every Indian contributes to India's growth. Country will only prosper when every citizen contributes his might and all unproductive activities like bun stone throwing must stop. And to finally end, we are carrying out multiple activities to counter hybrid war by China. This includes military, naval, and air drills. We are also telling the neighbors to rise up and stand against China. We have also told China wants us to say that we follow one China principle, but we have not done so up till now, and we are not do it till the time China starts behaving. And India's Foreign Minister Jaishankar said on Saturday that our Indo-China relationship is not normal now. Without peace on the border, it cannot be. The message is very clear. Till the time you stop all your hybrid activities, India cannot support stand what China wants it to support, that is one China principle. I think I'll stop here. If you like the video, like it and share it with as many people as possible. Jai Hind. Himali?